Matt Granahan, looking like a ghetto Alf, getting ready to come up here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's good. Nice sunglasses. Nice sunglasses. You look like a 9-year-old dresses when he just found $1,000 on the side of the road. So, but the one thing about Matthew Granahan that I know is that he's so tan. Can y'all give it up for him as his tan look that he's got right here?
Come on! You can be louder than that. Come on.
You look like a black guy made by a printer that ran out of ink. Not anybody. The king of Connecticut. I don't know how that is. That's like being the king of Spartanburg. So, ladies and gentlemen, our first roaster of the afternoon, Matt Granahan.
Thank you, Jeff Lewis Neal. And I see Jeff Lewis Neal eyeing Miss Hope. Looks like an Ethiopian boy looking at Thanksgiving dinner. Now, I have not seen a look that lustful since I toured a watermelon patch with King Mo. Oh! Now, let me tell you people, that first joke was written for me by my good friend, Chuck Sloan.
All right.
Give it up for Chuck Sloan. Now, a lot of people, they think that Chuck Sloan is some kind of a racist. They think that Chuck Sloan is in the Ku Klux Klan. Well, let me ask you. Justin, have you ever seen him in any of the meetings?
Hey, everybody had their robes on. I don't know.
They all had their robes on. Well, you know, Chuck Sloan actually despises racism. He despises it. There is only one thing that Chuck despises more than racism, and that's interracial dating. Now, I look at my old friend, Dan Severn. And well, you know, you're just a pup, like that mustache. I look at that mustache and I think to myself, a lot of people, they make fun of the stash, but they don't realize it's a tribute, an homage, if you will, to Dan's old coach, Martin Farmer Burns.
Nice.
And he was also Chuck Sloan's coach. Is that not true, Chuck?
Learn from the best.
You gotta learn from the best. So it's tough for me to roast Dan, and I'm gonna get into that here a little bit with you guys. And when I finish, you're gonna know why. It's much easier for me to tell stories about Dan. Now, when Dan Severn comes to town, normally I tell the women and children to look for higher ground. But by the looks of the women in this town, they're much tougher than the men. And by the looks of the children in this town, if you moved them to higher ground, they'd start howling at the moon.
We don't know him.
Now, I got some road stories to tell you folks about Dan. Known him for a number of years. He's been a guest at the King's Castle. And my first story is Dan is a thrifty man. He likes to save the dollars. And he's often scolded me for shopping at Walmart and said, King, you gotta go to the dollar store. You gotta go to the dollar store. And Dan often likes to travel via hitchhiking to save money. And this first story is about a hitchhiker that picked him up. And Dan, you remember you told me about this gal. She had shapely legs, tan shapely legs. She had a beautiful round ass. She had amazing juicy bazooms. She had beautiful cheekbones, dimples. She was gorgeous face, but she was wearing these big pair of glasses. You remember that, Dan?
Big glass.
Big pair of glasses. And she said, I'd be happy to get you up the road, Dan, but first, I want to take you back home. I want to take you to my domicile. She went to the domicile. She reached down. She grabbed hold of the beast. And she inserted it. And what many folks thought, what Dan thought was every one of her orifices. And when Dan thought he was finished, when he thought he was finished, he looked up and he said, "Why in the fork hasn't this bitch taken her glasses off?" So she slowly removed her glasses. She reached up with her left hand. She began to unscrew her eye. She took her eye out and she said, "Dan, this is the best one of my holes." She said, "Dan, could you give me the skull fucking of the beast?" And she reached down and she inserted the beast for one final hole of pleasure. So when she got Dan back to his car, back to his destination on the road, she turned to the beast and she said, "I'll keep an eye out for you, big boy." Next story. Next story. I'm sitting on my couch 2 years ago.
I think I need a drink.
I think you do, Dan. And we're just getting started, big boy. We're just getting started. Next story. I'm sitting on my couch 2 years ago, relaxing. I get a call from back home. I get a call from Norwalk, Connecticut. It's from Joe Fernandez. He's the new wrestling coach for Norwalk High. He says, "You gotta come here and you gotta save the team. You gotta save us. Our mats are falling apart. They're freaking crumbling." And he has me up in the main event, Dan on the undercard. And we get to the Norwalk High School gym, otherwise known as the house that fucking Granahan built. And we get to the gym, and as we're walking into the gymnasium, we see this girl with these luscious bassoons. Dan is jumping up on his tippy toes, and he says, King, I gotta take a shit. I said, "Dan," I point him down to the pit, which is our locker rooms in Norwalk High. He says, "Go down there. This is like an Al Bundy-esque moment for me. My return." And I grabbed her. I took her behind the bleachers for the best 2.5 minutes of her life. And after I finished,
Was that including foreplay?
yes, yeah, that's the first 48 seconds.
That
You know.
included the 2-minute walk.
And so afterwards, you know, she looks up at me and she says, "King, oh king, I could not miss this opportunity. This opportunity to be with the legend, the man that has returned to Norwalk High, the king himself of Connecticut." But she said, "King, a lot has changed since you left. I am married to the leader of the Hells Angels." And she said, "My husband knows where I am. He knows that I needed to get out of the house. I needed to come see the one and only Matt Granahan." And she said, "He is currently on his way over here." And she said, "I have one final favor to ask you, King." She said, "Would you sign my boobs?" So I reached down, I grabbed hold of her massive memories. I took hold of the Sharpie she had brought for me, and I signed, "Dan the Beast 7." And now I'm going to tell you people why I can't be too hard on my good friend Dan Severn. Because this man literally saved my life. He saved my life. Years ago, I was suffering from the... Hey, let's give a hand for Dan. This man saved my fucking life, people. He saved my life. I was suffering from...
Could be a lynch.
That's right. Save your life.
Oh, man. Maybe that should be met with some jeers, but I was suffering from the absolute worst case of insomnia. I could not sleep. I tried hypnosis. I tried Ambien. I tried everything to get to sleep. I was on the road with Dan. This was killing me. I was going to lose my job. I couldn't focus during the day. And he handed me a VHS tape. And on that tape, it said Dan Severn's greatest promos and matches. I went home, I put the tape in the fucking VCR. Within 5 minutes, I'm sleeping like a baby. Now, in all seriousness, this to close this out. I was told many years ago by one of my shoe coaches and mentors, Billy Wicks, if you go into pro wrestling, you make those motherfuckers believe that everything you do in that ring to them, to your opponent, you could do to every single one of them. And Dan did that throughout his career. So let's hear it for Dan the Beast Severn!
Give it up for Matt Granahan, everybody. Good set, good set. Yeah, yeah. It's the only guy I know that takes his shirt off in a bar and people still think he's got a sweater on. So, and by the way, let's give it up for Damian Legion, the videographer.